back to Build with the Plan with Coach David. Today we're going to talk about the way you present your offer can make or break your sale. And what we're going to talk about is how people are presenting their quote or their offer at the time that they're asking for business. And yes, that's something that you really need to be thinking about. You need to be asking for their business at some point during the sales process. Hopefully you figured out when that is, and you should do it the proper way, right? Price is usually, okay, so what we want to talk about here is how you are solving most people are buying a solution to their problem, and and price is usually the secondary factor. What they really want is whatever that problem is, they want it solved, and they want to have it solved better, easier, faster, cleaner, whatever those fine points are than anybody else. And the faster or the more value you can bring to solving that problem, the better it is. So, obviously, I've talked about this before. If you've been following my podcast here, we're on episode number 9. We've talked a bit about, what problem are you solving? You need to understand what that is. And remember, the problem isn't just that you're doing this one service. There is something that they want solved. Now, they might not even know what the solution is that they're looking for. Like if you want to get your grass cut, you don't have time for it. Well, the problem is they want their place to look nice, but they don't have time. So what you're solving for them is a time issue, not necessarily getting your grass cut issue. All right. So now you want to think about, well, can you solve your problem better than your competition, but also understanding any secondary problems that they might have? The first problem, generally, most people either innately know what that is that they're solving when they are giving the price or giving the offer, but they may not be thinking about the secondary problems or things that might arise along with the initial one. For example, with the cutting the grass, maybe there are weeds that need to be trimmed, or maybe, how do you get rid of the grass cuttings? Do you leave them, just cut them and let them fall? Do you bag them up? These are some of the things that you can consider, but also when your grass is cut nicely, and if the hedges aren't trimmed, then the nicely cut grass makes the trees or the bushes look less kept. So that's a secondary problem to understand. Okay, so knowing what you're solving for them helps you build the offer to make sure that you can get the sale. All right, and what we're talking about here too as well is when you go to give the price for that or the investment that they need to pay to get that problem solved, is that don't say the price first. I know most people, all they want to know is what's the price? What's the price? You're going to come here, you're going to paint my house. It's, this is the square footage. You must have a price for it. Just give me a price over the phone. Now, the problem with that is that there are hidden things that you don't see. So giving a ballpark figure over the phone initially sounds like, well, maybe I'll be able to qualify them right off the bat, whether or not this would be a good client for me or not. But the problem with that is if you give them a price over the phone, then if they think that you are too high, you are likely never going to hear from them again. And you haven't been able to given the opportunity to show the value of what you can offer. So for whatever you can do, try not to give your price right off the bat when they ask you, or even when you've had the time to meet with them or go over what they want done. When you go to give that price, that quote, again, don't start with the price. Because just think about it. If I want my house painted and you come up to me, or I bring in a painter, and the painter says it's going to cost $4,000 to paint these 3 rooms. And if that client or prospect thinks to themselves, rightly or wrongly, that $4,000 is too much, the sale is dead. They've already, as far as they're concerned, you've outpriced yourself. They're not even going to listen to whatever you say after you've said the price. And if you say it too, if it's way too low, then they're thinking, what's wrong? Am I getting the wrong, am I going to get a quality job done here? Am I going to get the quality product that I'm looking for? And then they're not looking at the value. All right, so let's just go through this for a second. Okay, let's talk about an electrician. Now, if I am a homeowner and I've got this light fixture here and I want it moved over there, now the solution or the primary problem is that you're moving the light. That's the initial problem, or that's the initial reason why the electrician was called in. Now you think about it, okay, you can come in, electrician can say, okay, I'm going to move it from here to here. I need to cut a hole here. I got to feed the wires over there and connect it, put it back up, and then give a price. But understanding the secondary problem and the 3rd and 4th and 5th type of problem here helps you add value to that price. So a secondary problem could be showing up on time, not leaving a mess, and perhaps even patching up the old hole, right? Because if you move that light fixture, there's going to be a hole in the old spot there. So do you deal with that? Do you offer to fix that? Or do you just go, that's the homeowner's problem, right? But it's also doing it in a timely manner. But, another thing to think about is trusting strangers in their house. These are all things that people can consider, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. In that scenario, this is what they're thinking. So if you go in there as an electrician, and then you can have a solution for each one of those problems, then the price really is less of a factor because you're solving all their problems. So let's think about this. So you've gone in there, you've looked at it. Maybe the electrician has gone in there previously, and they say that they can do that for $500. Move it over, drill a new hole, connect the box, feed in new wires, reconnect it, test it, make sure it's okay. That could be $500. Okay, so if an electrician goes in there and says $500, I can do, and then that's it. That's all they say. For that, yeah, I can do $500. But let's say you are a secondary electrician. You come in there, you assess the problem, and you say, okay, here's how we typically work. I'm going to give you a window of 1 hour. We'll be here between 9 and 10. And if there's any issues, we make sure that we let you know that we're going to be late. And when we come in, we put booties on our work boots. We make sure that we're not tracking anything into your property, into your house, and we lay down some stuff on the floor so that anything that falls does not damage the floor. It will land on the drop cloth. But also, we will send you beforehand, we're going to email you or text you your preference, the name and a picture of the electrician that's going to go to your house. That way you will know that what the person looks like so that you're not letting a stranger in. Plus, you can also say all of our employees wear the uniform, the logo will be on the chest. They will come in, they will introduce themselves, and they will put little booties on, their work boots. And then once we've done that, we're going to move that light where you want to. We're going to put a new hole. We're going to feed the wire over there. But what we're also going to do is that we're going to bring a little piece of drywall and we're going to put it up there and we're going to patch it and put the first coat of mudding on. And then all you need to do is we can either come back for an additional fee Or you can just leave it like that and put a second coat on there, give it a sand, prime it, and paint it. And we're going to do all that for $750. See, now that you've given all that value, the $750 doesn't seem like it's a lot of money. But when they compare it to the other person, they go, okay, the other person was $500. Well, they didn't say anything about timely. They didn't say anything about cleaning up the mess. They didn't say about protecting the floor. They didn't say anything about trusting the strangers that come into your house. So you can see here that even though that your investment to make that problem go away is $250 more, they will look at the value on what you're offering and the lack of value the other person's offering and say, well, for $250, I think I will trust and I will know that I'm going to get a better job from this second electrician because he's explained all the value and the process in which you are going to come to my house. So you can see that if the second person had come and just said it's $750 and the other person said $500, right off the bat, the person saying, well, that's 50% more than the other person. I mean, that's way too much. I don't care what the guy has to say because he's already 50% more. So that way, if you explain the solutions that you have that handle all the secondary, tertiary and all those other types of issues that typically come up in that, then they will feel much more willing to pay that extra because they know that the value is there. Now, this has to do with anything. Now, whether you're selling a product, again, you have to think about it. How am I selling this product? Oh, you've got a generator there. It's 4,500 kilowatts and it's $1,000. And the person said, well, I went somewhere else and that 4,500 kilowatt generator was only $800. Right? Then that's where the price comes in. The value's not there. Now, if it's the same brand, the same specs, then yeah, price will be it. Except for perhaps you deliver the generator. Maybe you deliver it with the fuel tank filled up. Plus you also give a tutorial on the premises on how that generator works. Now, that $200 difference doesn't seem like $200 anymore because you're giving them value. You're delivering it. They don't have to worry about how are they going to get it home. They don't know, maybe they're unsure exactly how to use it, but you're going to show up there and give them a tutorial. Plus, you're going to fill up their tank, their fuel tank, so that they're ready to go as soon as they need that generator. But if you were just to say the two prices right off the bat, then of course they're going to say, $1,000 is too much. I can get it down the road for $800. It's 20% cheaper. So that's what I want you to think about. When you are giving your quote or when you're giving your offer on the product or service that you're doing, please tell them the value that you're offering first. But you need to understand all the different problems that you're solving for them and how you're going to address them. So, and again, at the end, you're not going to say, and the price is, or the cost is. You got to keep in mind, cost and price typically have a negative connotation to it. So I would always use the term, the investment. If you want to have this to happen, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and this is going to happen, and the investment for that would be this. Okay? Because generally speaking, they're investing to get something done. And then the next thing I would say, how would you like to proceed? Or can I help you with this? Right? As opposed to, do you want to buy it? You want to stay away from those types of terms. All right, so hopefully you've learned something from this value first, then price. And make sure you're adding that value, and you can almost always charge more for your product or service if you're giving a lot more value than your competition. All right, until next time, Coach David out.